Hello, welcome. I should maybe let's put you more this way so it's just me. I cut my hair. If you if you care at all, it used to be like right here, and I cut it here, and I did it. Call me, guys. To cut your hair. Don't please. No, actually, I suck. Thank God I didn't fuck it up because I actually kind of did fuck it up on my bangs, and I'm like kind of disappointed of how it came out, which I should have made a video about it, of like me cutting my hair, but I didn't. Anyways, back to the point of my YouTube video. It's books that I read when I was in the 5th grade. So it's been quite a while since I've been in the 5th grade. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I was 10 years ago. I was 10. I'm 17 now, so it was like 10 years ago. 7 years ago, right? It was books that I'm doing it based off like my memory, because I no longer have the books because it was in the 5th grade. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Go on the floor. Anyways, first things first, I will be talking about Project 1065. I'll put it up here. And then also, I think it's called Fish in the Tree, over here. Those are two books that I will be talking about, but based off of memory and what I remember, and then what I took from those books, right? So we're gonna start with Project 1065 because that's like one of my favorite books that I read, especially when I was in the 5th grade. I was obsessed with that. I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with that book. Genuinely, I was obsessed. Like that was like one of the books where I was like mad, just into it. I was into that book. Like I wanted to know what was happening. And I remember I had bought the book, and there was this kid in my class who was also interested in having the book, but he never bought the book, and so I let him borrow it. I remember we would talk about it, and it was so cool. It was so cool that we had an interest together over the book, right? So, what is the book about? It's about this Irish kid. I think his name was like Michael O. I remember his last name started with an O. I will figure out his name. I'll put it up here. That's what his name was. He was Irish. He was an Irish, and his and his parents were also Irish, right? And they were spies during World War II. So they were Irish spies, right? During World War II. And so Michael was in this like training camp, right? And he befriended this guy named Fritz. Fritz was one of his friends, right? And one thing about Michael is that he is afraid of heights. It doesn't matter where, he's afraid of heights. I remember this one part of the book, I think he went over to Fritz's house, if I remember correctly, or he was somewhere, and he was going down the stairs, or up the stairs. He was literally telling himself, don't look down, because he was just so afraid of heights. It was bad, it was severe, the fact that he was scared to be on normal stairs. That's how bad his fear was. And essentially, Fritz and Michael were, I guess you can say they were best friends. They were like best of friends, right? And they were always just hanging out in training camp and stuff. And Fritz would help Michael would help Fritz. You know? And then, Fritz was not aware of the fact that Michael was a spy, essentially a traitor, you could say. And Michael never told Fritz. Fritz, I think, eventually does find out that he is a traitor, like a traitor. Because I remember, I think it was maybe middle or maybe towards the end of the book, where there was a part where they were like on the train, and I don't know what caused them to be on top of the train, right? Like the train was in motion, the train was going, and I remember Fritz and Michael were on top, and I think Fritz might have found out that Michael was a traitor. And I think he was mad, and then I think Fritz died. And I was just like, God damn. Like, I felt so bad of the fact that he died. I was so, like, 10-year-old me hit that home. That hit home for me. That Fritz died. I'm pretty sure that Fritz was, like, the first character of any book that I read where the character died in the book. You know what I mean? I was just like, you know. And I remember, and then there's also other parts of the book where Michael, you can see that he's scared of heights, because there was like this part where they were training because they're at a training camp or whatever. They're at like a training place, right? And I remember there was like these parts of the book in the training where Michael had to like climb upwards and he was too scared to climb up. Like that's like one of the main things that you're gonna know about Michael is that he's afraid of heights, right? And then Fritz, I don't remember much about Fritz. And then I think in the beginning, in the very very beginning, like the first chapter, first page, Michael was having dinner with Nazis because World War II. He was Irish. What you gonna do? Yeah, that's what I remember. Now, what do I take from this book? Bro, I think it gave me an interesting perspective on like World War II or just war in general, especially when it came to like people who were going undercover to gather information and whatnot. I don't remember much about his parents. I don't remember much. I don't. But um, Michael, I remember he was afraid of heights and he was best friends with Fritz. But essentially, the book definitely gave me a new perspective. Um, Essentially, it gave me a new perspective because it wasn't like one side, like a person on one side of the war and then another person on one side of the war. It was literally one person from one side of the world pretending to be on the other side of the war, right? And so I felt like that was something interesting from the book because I felt like it's something. It was essentially a different perspective because it wasn't a citizen. It wasn't a regular citizen, you know what I mean? Because it was a spy. He was an undercover spy. And he was pretending to be on part of another side, and it just showed a new perspective, essentially. Essentially, what I was trying to say that it gave me a new perspective because it didn't show a citizen's point of view, it didn't show a soldier's point of view, it showed a spy's point of view. Because typically, when I read like war books or something, it's usually about citizens or soldiers, but it gave a new, I guess, perspective of somebody in the war because it showed their experience as a spy. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like a citizen or a soldier or something like that, where it's like typically it is. All I'm trying to say, it showed a new perspective. Now let's talk about Fish in a Tree. I don't remember the main character's name. I don't remember. But all I do remember is that the main character, it was a girl. I think she was, I think she might have moved into a new town. Or she was just very awkward, right? And I remember I think she had like some form of like dyslexia or something, like she couldn't read, from what I remember. And she really liked to draw. Like in the book, like towards at the end of the book, you could see drawings that she drew. Like the character was supposedly had drawn. What the fuck is wrong with me? I don't know. I felt like Fish in the Tree was a good book because I felt like it showed kids, like other kids, right? Sort of like the struggles that kids with dyslexia go through, kind of like things that getting made fun of or something like that. And I feel like it would show them that it is not okay to make fun of other people about whatever issues they may have because it's not right and it could make the feel it could make the feel it could make the person feel bad because they can't control it. It's something that they can't control and they're getting made fun of it. You know what I mean? Because, like, imagine if you were getting made fun of something that you literally completely can't change about yourself and you're getting made fun of about that. It doesn't feel good, right? It doesn't. I feel like that book would show that to other kids, you know?